front of her family. She wouldn't have worn a veil except when she prayed and traveled, but wearing a hair wrap or net. And she would have had rings on her fingers and toes.
I'm going to extrapolate this because who cares what race Mary was, honestly. But I'm going to extrapolate this more so to the Jesus thing, because you have all these people like, well, Jesus was black. And it's mainly them, to be honest, they're the ones that care the most. I think white people don't really care about Jesus being white anymore. But Christians shouldn't care what race Jesus was. We can talk about it. And he probably was, he was Middle Eastern. He was probably brown. His skin tone was probably a little bit like mine. And his face probably didn't look like mine, though. Because I'm from Latin. Latino. He was Middle Eastern. There you go. Now, the black community has suffered the most from this. Because Latinos, we don't care about Jesus being white, black. But the thing is, when they make him black, they always add it. Because it's like an association thing. They want to cling on to Jesus being black because it stems from the slave owners misusing the Bible and Jesus in order to enslave them. So then, because they've mostly been indoctrinated by a bunch of people that don't have the best interests in mind, I'll put it like that. It's probably the safest, most PC way that won't get me banned off the internet of putting it. They now think that if they make Jesus black, that therefore all their issues will go away, apparently, or their justice will be resolved. And the same thing goes with, reparations. Like, oh, give us the money because of slavery back then. Give us the money. That's going to really make things right. No. It's all stupid. It's all propaganda. The race of Jesus doesn't matter. Okay? Always remember that. We don't care. But don't try making him your own race because that will somehow make you feel better or give you power. You should be able to love Jesus whether he's white, black, gray, pink, or blue. Okay? There's a reason why we don't actually know 100% what Jesus looked like. There's a reason.
And bracelets and jewelry, even anklets that shimmered and jingled when she walked. And she would have had a nose ring. Not like that. That's better. That's a nose ring. She would...
Ew, nose rings are nasty, bro. If you like girls with nose rings, then you gotta pump up those testosterone levels, bro.
Would have been wise to know how to use all of the things that grew around her village, both for food and for medicine, and she would have handled all of her family finances, because the women of the house were the ones that traded and bartered and kept the family going. Mary, the mother of Jesus, was a nomad, a traveler.
And you don't believe in God?
Which one?
What do you mean?
Well, Zeus.
Who?
Greek god. Or Ra, or Ganesh.
No, not those ones. The real one in the Bible.
Yahweh.
Just God.
Well, you know how you don't believe in all those other gods I mentioned? That's how I don't believe.
Yeah, this is the Ricky Gervais, so...
Yours.
How can you not believe that someone created all this, though?
Why do you believe that someone created it all?
Because it's so good. Can't just be chance, can it? What, the Big Bang? Everything came from nothing? That's impossible.
You're right. God did it.
What?
So, where did God come from?
Okay, so let's this TikTok finish and answer both of these.
Noah's been around.
Yeah. Okay, so the problem with that's the Richard Dawkins. I'll answer the last part first. That's the Richard Dawkins who created the creator objection, and the problem with that is it creates an infinite regress. Okay, we propose God is the first uncaused cause. Okay, so the thing is, if you say God is cause, then okay, well the being above is God. And then it just keeps going up and going. And this infinite regress applies even if you take a secular view. So you have to break this chain somehow, because infinite regresses are logically incoherent, right? The way you do is at first uncaused cause. And again, he doesn't really seem to address, and it's a short TikTok, so I understand. He doesn't really address how nothing can become something, which is what the Big Bang essentially posits. The objection is to say, well, you have to explain the explanation, which you don't need to do, right? And it's going to come up later, funnily enough, but when you come up with an explanation for something, for example, okay, why is this bottle cap blue? Well, some people in the lab made the cap and they made it blue. Okay, well, why did they choose that? Then you just keep going. You say why? It's like a fifth grader a 5-year-old can explain the problem with this logic. Just say why over and over and over again to something, and eventually you'll be like, well, I don't know. Well, guess what? That's no longer a good explanation according to this logic. But also, this why will never end. Like, you literally get to the beginning of the universe, like, why? It keeps going. You'll never be able to explain anything. So that's the problem with that. And the first part is, well, I deny God for the same reason you deny all those other gods. I deny the... I deny the God of Islam because I don't think Muhammad was a true prophet. Can't apply that to Christianity. We don't believe in Muhammad. Muhammad's nowhere in our Bible or our theology at all. So yeah, it's one of those things where atheists, they grab something like, wow, this is amazing, and then they spread it around. It's not even that good.
Never did I think I'd ever say something like this, but they finally helped me realize how thankful we should be to the Christian God, and just please join me in thanking him. God, thank you
Sounds like a girl, looks like a boy.
so much for the 17-year-old freshman I met in college who was so abused by his Christian parents over being homosexual that he decided to take his own life at the age of 18. Thank you
Okay.
so much, God, for the thousands of children who are experiencing sexual assault at the hands of the men of the Christian church. Thank you so much, God, for the millions of good people, adults and children alike, who are dying of starvation and disease. Thank you so much, God, for the racism, sexism, homophobia, xenophobia, Islamophobia, anti-Semitism, and even more at the hands of Christianity, because God is good, God is in control, and God really created all of this for us. And it's so funny how Christians will try to post something as insensitive as that video and then try to pass off all the bad things in the world as free will, but free will doesn't exist if God is in control. So is God in control or not? Because y'all are really good at turning around and saying that Lil Nas X's new video is the work of the devil.
So that was, as young women would put, yapping. And because I hope she's a woman. Not really, but I guess, because she sounds like a woman. Yeah, it was correct. As I explained, actually no, I didn't explain this, did I? No, I did. God's divine foreknowledge is not causative. Think about it like this. God's divine foreknowledge is like an infallible barometer. Barometers don't cause the weather, but they're never wrong about the weather. It's just like that. So God can be completely in control, but at the same time, it doesn't mean that the actions people take are caused by God, which I talked about Calvinism earlier, which would be... that would be what she said would be on the case on Calvinism. Bring that issue up with Calvinists. What? Like, I don't want to make fun of her, but like, why would you sit down and just sit down? Like, imagine this. I sit down. I'm gonna make the video right now. Like, I'm gonna sit down. I'm gonna record. And then I take the video, me at age 13 upset that my dad died suddenly, and post it. Why? Why would you do that? Wait, why is there disease and stuff again? So, I haven't fully looked into natural evil, so I will say this is not my expertise, so to speak. But I will say that, as a theist, you can say that God's ultimate plan is humans' redemption and the most amount of people coming to God. Right? That's the end plan. And on Molinism, God would divinely decree the world where this would occur via people's free will, the best it could. So part of that could be disease and what does happen. The atheist can't say that the presence of that necessarily means that God doesn't exist. It's not an explicit contradiction. It's an implicit one that would have to provide some sort of burden of proof, which can't really be done because we have that response. It's kind of both sides aren't that strong in that regard. Although I do think I have heard of better responses from people like William Lane Craig or Alvin Planska. So I will look into that, though. I should probably brush up on that a little bit. Oh, okay, so there's the end of the video. So, God's plan. Well, in one way it is. If you don't like that, then... I mean, yeah, I guess it's sad, but there's no logical issue there, is it? Nothing else to be said.
That Christians have been stitching my last video because they all stitch the exact same part where I say Jesus wasn't born on Christmas, and then they all say the exact same thing. We know that Jesus wasn't born on Christmas. Way to teach us something new.
Why do people do that to their ears? Like, they have an ear, a normal ear, and instead of being a normal person and just piercing it and then putting an earring in, it's like, okay, whatever. And then they take it up one step, and then they put piercings all up and down. It's like, it's kind of weird. And then they put this massive circle in their ear and just elongate it. Why? Why do people do things like this?
Atheist. It was a pagan holiday, and now we observe it as Jesus' birthday because we have taken over. We've conquered the pagan holiday. You don't get to do that. See, your book in Deuteronomy 12:31-32 says that you are not allowed to take pagan holidays and then repackage them as gods. Also, the only people that celebrated birthdays in the Bible were the bad guys. That's why there's no specific date given for Jesus' birth, because it's not supposed to be observed. So, way to prove to me that you are even more biblically illiterate. Sit down. You are out of your league.
You're so...
No one cares. That's the response. I don't care. Other Christians don't care. No one cares.
obsessed with evidence. Please provide me evidence that...
Alright, so this guy has to watch my testosterone videos and my facial hair videos. Look at that. He actually does have facial hair, but it's like... It's confined to this. You can't grow it up to here like me. You can just grow that. Like, why don't you just shave it all off, bro? Like, why do people keep their facial hair like that?
God does not exist.
Alright, so let's start with the basis here.
Wait a minute, that was a Christian?
Please provide me evidence that God does not exist.
Oh, well. Build back Christian, man. You gotta join the movement, bro.
Let's start with the basis here. You are the theist, one who believes in God. The atheist is one who lacks belief in God due to lack of proof. So you are making the claim that God is real.
Okay, so this is the semantic. Well, atheism versus atheism. We just lack belief, and then these other people, the atheists, don't believe that there is no God, which would require a burden of proof. I don't really care if they say they lack a belief or they don't believe. It's the same thing at the end of the day. It's just kind of annoying because what's the difference? They call themselves atheists, people that lack belief, and then atheists, people who believe in no God. They're both atheists apparently, so it's confusing. So
That is your
whatever.
responsibility to prove that God is real. By you shifting the responsibility onto the disbeliever to prove that God is not real, it's a logical fallacy known as the burden of proof. The burden of proof lies with someone who...
Like, this is like 101 dummy. It's like the equivalent of a kindergarten class for philosophy of religion. Like, yeah, we understand how a burden of proof works, bro.
is making a claim. You can't prove a negative. You are making...
Yes, you can prove a negative. Yes, you can. That's a lie. You can prove that there are no square circles. Boom. I just proved a negative. Wow. And you know what? Atheist philosophers have been trying to prove the negative that God doesn't exist. They don't all just go like, well, we can't prove a negative. They don't say that. It's stupid. Now, it is true that sometimes you can come up with a ridiculous claim that, and this is why I don't really give them too much of a hard time for this, like some of the Christians. You can't come up with a negative to try and disprove. That's very difficult. I don't think God's necessarily one of those, but I understand where they're coming from. Okay, you lack belief, whatever. We still have to make our... The Christian still has to provide arguments. Either way.
making the
That is
claim
true.
that God is real. So the responsibility is on you to have extraordinary and substantial evidence to make that claim.
Is atheism a religion? It is not uncommon to encounter a religious individual who wants to make the claim that atheism is in fact a religion, no different than Christianity. Before we can decide if atheism is a religion, we have to define what religion.
Yeah, what is the definition of religion? I do consider it a faith, but is it a religion? Belief and worship, especially in God, faith, worship, pursuit. Oh, well, under this definition, Yeah, I do consider it a religion, because on atheism is a bit different in that you end up making something else your religion, and you end up worshiping that thing. If you don't worship God, you're going to worship something else. It's embedded in our brains. We have parts of our brains dedicated to religion.
Is. And religion is notoriously difficult to define because so many people have so many different views. Generally speaking, there are several different elements to religion. Usually there is a moral or ethical system in place, oftentimes stemming from a holy book. It's almost always a system, even if there aren't physical structures. Usually there's a God belief. But even when there's not a God belief, there's a supernatural or spiritual element.
Okay, whatever. So this is just depends on your definition of religion. But atheism is certainly a faith.
And you have their Christianity either.
No, we don't care.
Atheist, your Sunday School, a series where... Good morning, and welcome to Atheist Sunday School, a series where I introduce you to some of my favorite horrible Bible stories.
Oh, God, here we go.
Today, we're going to learn about Noah, who was a man who loved God. And when that all-knowing God, who totally could have seen this coming, got so angry with his creation that he decided to kill them all in a worldwide flood, he saved Noah and his family. In order to save Noah and his family, he instructed him to build a large boat and fill it with animals. And then the door of that boat was shut, and the rain fell. But those pesky humans that God created got really scared and started banging on the door of the boat. But Noah obeyed God and didn't let them in.
Correct.
And so every person from baby to grandma were slaughtered. And now we paint Noah's Arks on nurseries because of what's cuter than genocide.
Right. This is comedy. Okay, not because of the story, because I know, because now I have atheists making videos about me. Like I'm gonna react to a video today. Some dude with 100K subs made a video about me. So they're gonna clip this and be like, "Oh my God, look at him! He likes talk. He's psychotic. He's laughing about people dying." No, I'm laughing at the presentation, but there's a lot of different alleys to go about Noah. But you know what? I'm not even gonna bother, bro, because what is my faith in Christianity rooted in? Jesus' resurrection. So if Noah's Ark became such a massive issue, oh my God, how can I explain this? Well, it was an allegory. Let's talk about Jesus' resurrection. I'm not even gonna bother. Okay, you came out as a lot more than an atheist. You came out as way more than an atheist. I will bet all of my money on that. Alright, let's see. It's pretty loud. Nope, there's a rainbow. Yep. She did come out as a lot more than an atheist. I knew it. It's too obvious. Oh, yep. Look at that. I knew it. Came out as a lot more than an atheist. So, in terms of demon ways, I mean, they're right in one sense. I mean, that rainbow flag's not a very good representation of what we would call non-demonic values. Anyways, that's it.